Right, so some South African creatives hope President Cyril Ramaphosa will not give in to the US's pressure to sign into law the Performers Protection and Copyright Amendment Bill. Now, the legislation has been waiting for his signature for close to a year now. On Monday, supporters of the new law staged a picket outside the US Embassy in Pretoria. Some artists complained that South Africa's pending new copyright laws will not protect or enforce intellectual property rights, but the Actors Guild of South Africa believes that this is not true and says the new laws will make sure local artists enjoy the same rights as actors in the US. Well, to help us understand this contention, I'm now joined in studio by Jack Devnarain, who's the chair of the SA Guild of Actors. So thanks for your time. Welcome to Newsroom Africa.
Pleasure, thank you.
So where is the point of contention? You know, it clearly is an argument over the same law with apparently different possible outcomes. You believe that, you know, the outcomes are more positive than negative. Tell us why.
Let's go back to the reason for the picket, and this now points to why should the South African economy be under threat if the US trade representative is looking at our status as a trading partner and trying to review the kind of tariffs that South Africa qualifies for as a developing economy. So the US trade representative is looking at us as an economy and saying, if you sign this copyright bill into law, your tariffs will go up. And if you can dismiss this entire copyright amendment concept, then your tariffs will stay low. And that for us, especially as professional actors in this country, we see as a direct threat and as an attempt to blackmail us into walking away from the rights that we have as professional actors, especially our economic and our moral rights, which are all contained in this bill.
Right, but let's take a bit of a step back further if we can. I mean, we speak about tariffs and the effect they have on actors. I don't want to take it for granted that everybody sort of understands the line of transactions, so to speak. So are these tariffs charged by actors or tariffs that actors have to pay themselves? Help us locate this critical issue.
Well, South Africa is an economic trading partner to the US. And we are talking about billions and billions of rand that are traded across the seas every year, because that's how South Africa trades with the US. So as a trading partner, South Africa qualifies for certain tariffs. And what the US is saying is that if you go ahead and sign this copyright bill into law, the tariffs that you qualify for as a trading partner will be under threat. And all those tariffs will go up. And that is it's a blunt instrument approach to a very simple issue. The US have a copyright regime that applies to their actors, to their creatives, and all those people who have intellectual property rights. South Africa has the same. And in fact, since 1967, South Africa's copyright regime hasn't changed. In a sense, we're very much tied to an apartheid economy, in the sense that as a group of creatives, our intellectual property rights are still very much tied to the people who make use of and exploit the rights of our creatives. So as actors, we are saying that the benefits that should accrue to actors as creatives should actually be channeled through the new copyright bill, through the new copyright regime. And through that, we will be able to get the benefits that we deserve from a new economy, and an economy that is no longer tied into the apartheid a way of doing business. We need to understand that as creatives, we have so much more to offer. This is the age of the internet, in fact, and through all the different ways that audiovisual content is being consumed, creatives should earn a benefit from that and not be held under threat by the US trade representative.
I'm interested to know how much business comes from that trade agreement, though. You know, is the US a big trading partner insofar as sharing intellectual property with South African creatives? Or, you know, is there room for essentially allowing them to walk away if there isn't an agreement insofar as this is concerned?
We strongly believe that it is an unnecessary threat to say that the US would have to adjust the tariffs that apply to South Africa and the South African economy. We believe that there is enough content that is created around the world, and that there are enough consumers around the world to be able to access all the content that is being created. So we believe it is very much a distraction. in as much as the American economy can sustain their own copyright regime, there shouldn't be interference in the South African lawmaking process from the US or any other country outside of our own borders that should interfere in how we go about making our laws. If you have to understand that if our copyright regime has not been sufficiently revised and reformed since 1967, why shouldn't South African people, South African creatives, look at creating a copyright regime that tries to help us within our own economy and to derive the benefits from our own work?
Certainly makes sense. I mean, issues around the plight of creatives in South Africa have certainly been thrust a bit more into the spotlight over recent months, and that was largely sparked by the open letter penned by Vatiswa Ndaga. We saw President Cyril Ramaphosa alluding to the plight of actors when he also delivered the eulogy for the late founder of Ladysmith Black Mambazo, Obab Joseph Shabalala, in KZN. I mean, are you finding that there's at least a bit more traction around what you've now described as an issue that's existed for years now, insofar as taking care of the people who essentially take care of us by giving us the type of reprieve from the many issues that we deal with on shows like this?
Let's unpack that. There's a big difference between the letter of grievance, which was a cry for help, very much on behalf of the entire creative industry from Sis Vatiswa. And she put herself at great risk in order to do that.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, we can't really compare that with the eulogy from the president, because his effort was largely symbolic. It did nothing to forward the cause of our industry. And when creatives have the opportunity to produce the kind of entertainment that they are capable of and to challenge themselves to do better and to do more, it is not so much a reprieve as it is them focusing on their core competency,
right,
which is to be a professional performer, an entertainer that has skill, that has spent many years in study, self-examination of being the best talent that they can be. So for them, that is very much the primary scope of what it is that they're meant to do. So we've got to be careful also of not seeing entertainers as people who couldn't get work anywhere else, or people who are not good enough to do anything else. Entertainers are professional entertainers.
Yeah.
We are part of a very important sector within our industry, and we contribute a great deal to the economy as a whole.
Absolutely. Yeah, the reprieve was for the people who view the entertainment, right? The consumers, so to speak. But
yes,
thank you for getting us into the picture insofar as that is concerned. Undoubtedly, a story we'll be keeping a close eye on, and hopefully you'll be back to give us an update on what you've been able to achieve.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
Brilliant stuff. So Jack Devnarain is chair of the SA Guild of Actors. Thanks once again for your time.